Late son and mother felt pride to express them as he testified at the TRRC public hearing currently underway in Jambur. Ansumana Sajo tells the Truth Commission that absorption of concoction destroys his health. International conference on sales of diamond underway in Angola. These and more coming on the world today. It is 17:30 GMT here in our studios in Banjul. You're watching the World Today Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. Abdullah H. Bojang, a father whose son was killed in the April 10 and 11 student demonstration, has said that his family found it difficult to get access to the remains of the boy. The native of Jambur in Kombo South District testified before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission in connection to former President Yahya Jammeh's witch hunt exercise of 2009. Whilst his son Lamin Bojang was killed in the student, his mother Masire Bojang was a victim of Yahya Jammeh's witch hunting exercise, in which she was forced to drink concoction that is known to take senses out of people. The April 2000 student massacre was the killing of 14 people and one accidental death by police officers and soldiers on April 10 and 11 at a student protest. The protest had been called following two separate incidents: the beating of death to a secondary school student by firefighters and the rape of a 13-year-old girl by a uniformed police officer. Still on the TRRC, yesterday, Ansumana Sajo, a native of Makumbaya, operator of a milling machine at the time of ex-President Jammeh's witch hunt exercise, explained to the Commission details of his ordeal with the witch hunters who took him to a colony where he was held for 2 days. Ansumana told the Truth Commission that his assumption of the concoction, he became unconscious. He further mentioned that the witch hunt exercise, which he was a victim of, marked the beginning of his ill health. For more on that, we go with this report.
Ansumana Jammeh, a victim of 2009 witch hunting exercise, appeared before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission to narrate memories of being trapped into ex-President Jammeh's witch hunt exercise. He said the witch hunters, dressed in their usual red clothes, found him at a milling machine where he was working as operator and asked him about a woman who the witch hunters said ran into his place. At that point, he said one of the marabouts requested to take him along to give him the concoction randomly offered to villagers in Jambur. Typical of Jammeh's witch hunt team was public labeling of individuals with sicknesses for which it would offer to heal using herbs prepared at the presidency. He was carried along many other men and women from the surrounding villages to somewhere in Kololi, where the concoction was administered on them. Sajo recalled of being completely unconscious after he swallowed the substance made by the ex-president.
What about you personally? What effect did this medicine have on you?
Silang ite fango nimborol ay mune sabu may mune kela ila
inata indolbe ni ka wori nyame indolbe bondo wode yanbe dundu bungono.
That's the time when they came for us and we were all removed from there and took us into the hall.
And when you went in the hall, what happened there?
Silang kabariyal samba holo kono mune natake
Mo nare yamaga yadamu to ne bikino da damina isara tindu woto.
Well, when we went into that hall, every person where you were sitting down, that's where they laid down and some went to sleep.
And what about you? Did you sleep, and when did you eventually wake up?
Silang ite dum foy sino tanole and watu jumale kunta
Ndaman sino wo ndo ga ndafo wo ndadaye ndadama sino de.
Me, I didn't sleep. I can say that it was semi-deaf.
Mr. Interpreter, can you just tell me what that means?
It means somebody who is between life and death.
Thank you very much. So were you conscious or not?
Foye fan kalamuta le ban wala foye me fan kalamuta.
Ndebi dam fan kalamuta wa minna. Go no funkal muda man nafa ben nafa.
The time I came to be aware of myself, well, it was quite useless to me at that time.
He was subject to this forceful treatment of 2 consecutive days before he was allowed to go home, amidst the beginning of serious health complications. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante.
From that report there on Ansumana Sajo's yesterday's testimony before the TRRC, now to Angola. Now, Angola produced up to 9 million casts of diamonds that it offers to international bidders from a national mining company. By the year 2020, diamond production is projected at 14 million carats, a figure for which an international conference is being held to define terms and conditions of the sale in the most prestigious metal in the world. As we report, the sale of diamond counts for 40% of the 2019 revenue compared to what obtained in a year before. Our reporter Binta Baji reports.
The first international conference and exhibition on the Angolan mining sector began on Wednesday at the Talatona Convention Center. The Angolan government, in collaboration with a local diamond company and JAMMEH, announced profitable revenues from the mining avenue. The sale of diamonds provided Angola with revenues of more than $290 million in the third quarter of 2019, marking a growth of 11% of the $30 million income from the natural resources in a year before. According to the Angola National Diamond Trading Company, the revenue was a result of the sale of 2.94 million carats, which increased by 46% compared to the third quarter of 2018. Angola is currently producing around 9 million carats of diamond, with the Angola National Diamond Company producing 14 million carats of diamonds by the year 2022. The United Arab Emirates continues to be the most relevant market for Angolan diamond, maintaining sodium as the exclusive channel for contract and auction of the diamonds. Sodium sold more than 8.4 million carats from the 12 mines for the total of $1.2 billion, corresponding to an average price of $145.5, placing Angola among the top 5 producer countries in the world. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Binta Baji.
Thank you, Binta. There, of course, from that report on the diamond production in Angola. We will now take a break and come back shortly to look at the remaining of our stories. Stay with us.
Tegla yo foda oda atabuka sonna tegla to oda atabuka sonna ka tegola atabuka sonna tegla ki
Go Gambia be tulo be lori menna kabiri sanjuma imamoyno sina o moy waton be wala kono yalong ñi on the 23rd November ñi 2019 sang memba kono te gisul men ka den kilo la men ka fo jalika isi mo nyamano wala be tulum basoto la independence
bara ayeto nyama
ku chanjama wala bi
bari kam men futo nyama ñing gisuli kam men maji rek ay denki non dum Gambia fango le tam dum Gambia no le tam so ko men ngel non ka bidin ka to fo ko ina Gambia be nga findi nga stadium mo fandite wallahi surwal ka fo men nako so baye sa anda bo dem fe ka fo borom so ñunu bi su ñu mun to la andal wallahi ñu mun andal nga tanga stadium mo fandite 23 November 2019 stadium mo to ndo den datula ko mat dekatale ke bare kula ndafa mata den la bari ndam doli ñaw yalo hay bari bi ya
Welcome back. You are watching The World Today on iAfrica TV, and now we take a look at the rest of the stories. Egypt has issued dollar-dominated Eurobond worth $2 billion to cover part of its $5 billion for the 2020 budget. Finance Minister said on Thursday that the issuance included $500 million of 4 years bonds, $1 billion of 12-year bond, and $500 million of a 40-year bond, while Egypt is trying to expand its investor base. The country has a difficult foreign debt repayment scheduled for the next 2 years. The country's foreign debt stood at $108.7 billion at the end of June.
Egypt's $2 billion Eurobonds have been 7 times oversubscribed, attracting $14.5 billion in requests. The latest Egyptian Eurobonds had a maturity of 40 years, the longest in the Middle East and North Africa.
This reflects the strong confidence in the Egyptian economy and a good forecast for the next 40 years, which is unprecedented here. But this is supported by strong numbers such as drop in inflation, the gradual strengthening of the Egyptian pound, as well as high economic growth levels. Also, the interest rates are very attractive compared to Europe, where it could reach 0% in some cases.
This is the third bond release in 2019. Bonds have been one of the tools to finance economic reforms and social security projects.
The government announced a host of social protection programs that include a new healthcare system that will include all Egyptians. Part of the funds will also go into covering the expenses in the state budget to reduce deficits.
Egypt's foreign debt has now exceeded $110 billion, up from $106 billion in the first quarter of 2019. However, Egypt's total debt is still in the safe zone of about 35% of GDP. The government has announced that it will enter the bond market again soon. It is planning to issue another $3 billion worth of Eurobonds by June 2020.
From that budgetary report in Egypt, we talk about youth entrepreneurship. 10 young entrepreneurs have received medals of Africa Business Heroes as the continent's Entrepreneurship Award held in Ghana. The prize is meant to support and inspire the next generation of African entrepreneurs who are building a more sustainable and inclusive economy for the future. In its inaugural year, nearly 10,000 entrepreneurs from 50 countries across the continent applied. The JAMMEH Foundation has committed the running of the competition for 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the much anticipated, sought after JAMMEH Foundation Africa's Business Hero Show.
A night of glitz and glamour at the Accra International Convention Center in Ghana.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from...
It was time to honor entrepreneurship in Africa, recognizing some of the best innovative and creative business minds in the continent. Dubbed Africa's Business Heroes, the African Netpreneur Prize Initiative is a flagship project of the JAMMEH Foundation, created by Jack Ma. The initiative was born after his first trip to Africa in 2017.
Young people are the hope of Africa, and this is why we decided to build up this Young African Entrepreneur Award. I think entrepreneurs are the great adventurers. They are the explorers. They love to walk in the way the other people have never tried. And they always challenge the things the other people don't believe it will work. Most people say in Africa today, there's no e-commerce, there's no logistics, there's no payment. But to me, it's so similar. Africa today is just like 15, 20 years ago, China. Because we have nothing, and that is the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is that successful economies depend largely on entrepreneurs running successful businesses. We need to push vigorously in Africa the culture of entrepreneurship so that we can grow our economies and become prosperous.
And that is what the African Entrepreneur Prize Initiative is all about. It's the first time this event was taking place, and almost 10,000 entrepreneurs from 50 countries across the continent entered for the competition. 10 finalists were shortlisted, and after 3 hours of them pitching their ideas to the judges, the final 3 were picked, and in the end, the winner announced.
Is our winner! Ladies and gentlemen.
Temi Giwa-Tubusun, founder and CEO of LifeBank, a Nigerian startup that connects blood donors to recipients and facilitates blood distribution, bagged $250,000.
What would I do? Use the resources to continue to build what we're building, scale to a couple more cities in Nigeria, and use that resources to do this winning to do that. It's all about impact, it's all about our growth in our revenue, and really proving that we can really solve this problem using a business model.
But even with this initiative, there's acknowledgement that more still needs to be done to scale up entrepreneurship in Africa.
I just found there are so many, every country I go there are so many great entrepreneurs, but they're not connected. Right? They're not connected. There's no like entrepreneur association or club or hubs. And thanks to our partners that make things happen, we got a lot of partners, especially 5 hubs of Africa. So I would love to discuss with them after this event and how can we make the ecosystem better.
The JAMMEH Foundation has committed to running the competition for 10 years. At the end of the day, the conversations were focused on one thing: creating the right environment and infrastructure for African entrepreneurs to come up with solutions to some of Africa's most pressing needs.
Empowering young people who seems to be doing very well in business in the continent. That report there, of course, from Ghana. But viewers, that's all we have for you on The World Today. But for more on this, you can join us, of course, on 19:30 GMT for another bulletin of the news. But for, of course, more details of these stories, you can log on our websites on africa.tv. Once again, I am Amadou Kante, and bye for now.
Tegla yo foda oda atabuka sonna tegla eh oda atabuka sonna ka tegola atabuka sonna tegla ki
Ngo Gambia be tulo be lori menna kabiri sanjuma imamoyno sila o moy waton be wala kono yalong ñi on the 23rd November ñi 2019 sang memba kono te gisul men ka den kilo la men ka fo jalika isi mo nyamano wala be tulum baso to la independence
bara ayeto nyama
ku chanjama wala bi
bari kam men foto nyama ñing gisuli kam men maji rek ay denk non dum Gambia fangole tam dum Gambia non le tam so comme men ngel non kabin ka to foko ina Gambia be nga findi nga stadium mo fandite wallahi surwal ka fo men nako so baye sa anda bo dem feka fo borom so ñunu bi su ñu mun to la andal wallahi ñu mun andal nga tanga stadium mo fandite 23 November 2019 stadium mo to ndo den datula ko mat dekatale ke bare kula ndafa mata den la bari ndam ko li ñaw yalo hay bari bi ya